That day was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, you know? I was the bride, slipping into that beautiful white dress, the one with the lace that hugged my shoulders just right, and I couldn't stop smiling as I walked down the aisle, feeling everyone's eyes on me like a warm embrace. My heart was bursting with love, hope, and that bubbly excitement that makes your chest feel light, like anything's possible. Everyone I cared about was there. My family, my friends, all beaming back at me with those genuine, joyful grins that make moments like this unforgettable. The flowers were perfect, bursts of soft pinks and whites that smelled like fresh spring rain. The music was perfect, that gentle violin melody floating through the air like a dream come true. Everything felt like a fairy tale, the kind you read about and wish for your whole life. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. This nagging, cold feeling I couldn't quite explain. Like a shadow creeping in on a sunny day, eyes watching me a little too long, lingering in a way that sent a tiny shiver down my spine, smiles that didn't reach the eyes. You know, those forced ones that look polite but feel empty. I ignored it all, pushed it aside, because I trusted them completely. Every single person in that room. They were my people, my loved ones. How could anything go wrong? Then, right there during my vows, as I stood holding Ethan's hands, promising forever, the terrifying truth hit me like ice water, poured straight down my back. Someone in that room, someone I loved deeply, someone standing close enough to touch me, to hug me, to whisper congratulations, wanted me dead. My name is Lila Monroe, and this is my real story, the one that's haunted me for years now. A wedding that turned into my worst nightmare, the kind that wakes you up sweating in the middle of the night. The day I discovered danger was closer than I ever imagined, lurking in the smiles of those I held dearest. I never thought I'd be sharing this, not in a million years, but here I am, because keeping it inside feels like letting the darkness win, and I refuse to do that anymore. Let me take you back, step by step, to how it all unfolded, so you can feel it the way I did, a slow build of unease that exploded into chaos. My name was Leela Harper before all this, growing up in this cozy little town in Oregon where life moved slow and simple, the kind of place where kids ride bikes until sunset and neighbors share pies over fences. My parents were the heart of it all. Dad fixing cars in his garage with grease-stained hands and a whistle on his lips. Mom shaping young minds in her third-grade classroom with endless patience and stories that made learning fun. We weren't fancy or wealthy, but we had love, the real kind that sticks through tough times. And as their only child, I was their everything, their pride and joy wrapped in one. I was always the quiet type, nose buried in books, dreaming of adventures beyond our small streets. So I worked hard, earned that scholarship to the University of Washington, and packed my bags for Seattle, ready to chase those dreams. Landed a gig as a graphic designer at this up-and-coming tech firm where creativity met deadlines in the best way. That's where Ethan Monroe walked into my life, changing everything in ways I couldn't have predicted. Ethan was like no one else. Confident without being arrogant, ambitious with a spark that lit up rooms, and funny in that subtle, witty way that makes you laugh unexpectedly. He headed up marketing, and I got pulled onto his projects, starting with professional chats over coffee and evolving into something more. At first, it was all business. Late nights, brainstorming logos and campaigns, but then came that evening after a killer presentation when he suggested drinks with the team, and I thought, why not? We ended up talking under the rain-soaked streets of Seattle, him holding the umbrella mostly over me while he got drenched, sharing stories about our families, our wildest dreams, even our deepest fears. And in that moment, I felt truly seen, like he understood parts of me I hadn't shared with anyone. We took it slow from there. Dinners at hole-in-the-wall spots, hikes through misty forests, weekend getaways to the coast where we'd watch waves crash and talk about the future. 6 months in, he met my parents, and they fell for him instantly. Dad clapping him on the back, saying, "That boy's got a solid head on his shoulders, Lila," and Mom tearing up, whispering how happy she was for me. A year later, when he asked for their blessing, it felt like the stars aligned. The proposal? Oh, it was magic. On a ferry to Bainbridge Island, the sun dipping low over the water in hues of orange and pink, him dropping to one knee right on the deck, rings sparkling in his hand, his eyes misty as he poured out his heart. And I said yes before the words fully left his lips, laughing through happy tears. Wedding planning became my obsession. Every detail a piece of our love story. We picked this charming, renovated barn in the Willamette Valley, nestled among rolling vineyards and wildflower fields, inviting about 120 guests to share in the joy. Colors were soft, ivory and sage green, evoking that fresh, natural vibe, with a live string quartet setting the mood and a menu bursting with the local wines and farm-fresh dishes that made your mouth water just thinking about them. I handpicked my bridesmaids. My college bestie Sarah, who's like the sister I never had, my cousin Emily with her infectious energy, Ethan's sister Claire, because family bonds matter, and a couple of close work pals who knew all my secrets. Claire pushed to be maid of honor, saying with that intense smile of hers, "We're going to be sisters now, Leela. It's only fitting." And I agreed, not wanting to rock the boat, thinking it would bring us closer. But hindsight is cruel, isn't it? That's when the subtle cracks started appearing. Little things that nagged at me, but I dismissed as wedding jitters. Claire had always been intense, 2 years older than Ethan, acting like his guardian after their parents' messy divorce when they were just kids, shaping her into this fiercely protective force. She'd never settled down, no marriage, no kids, her world orbiting around her brother like he was her son. When Ethan and I started dating, she was all in at first, overly enthusiastic even, texting nonstop, crashing our plans, weaving herself into our lives. But then the comments slipped in. Casual at first, but sharp underneath. "Are you sure you're ready for this kind of commitment?" she'd say when we were alone, her voice laced with concern that felt off. "Ethan's been through so much. He needs someone truly stable, someone who gets him. Or he's always been selective with partners. I just want him happy, you understand?" I'd smile politely, nod, tell myself it's just sisterly worry, nothing more. Then there was Aunt Victoria, my mom's older sister, who'd been out of the picture for years after a bitter fallout over Grandma's inheritance, where Victoria felt shortchanged and let resentment fester. When Mom passed from cancer 5 years back, sudden, heartbreaking, Victoria didn't even show for the funeral, leaving a void that stung. But news of our engagement brought her back, calling out of the blue with that syrupy sweet tone, "Leela, darling, I'm thrilled for you. Let me help with the wedding. I have connections that could make it spectacular." I hesitated, but Dad urged, "She's family, give her a shot at redemption." So I did, inviting her, letting her chip in on the venue deposit with a hefty check that seemed generous. I hoped it meant healing old wounds, but deep down, something felt forced, like strings attached I couldn't see. The months flew by in a blur of dress fittings where the lace whispered against my skin, cake tastings that left us giggling over sugary bites, and seating charts that tested our patience. Ethan was buried in work stress, chasing a big promotion, snapping more than usual, pulling away some nights. But I chalked it up to pre-wedding pressure. Everyone says cold feet are normal, right? Yet those uneasy moments piled up, like finding Claire in our apartment one afternoon, rummaging through my jewelry box, her cheeks flushing as she stammered, "Just looking for something to borrow for the big day," or Victoria's tearful call, "Your mother would be so proud. She always said you'd marry well," the word well hitting like a veiled jab at money or status. Even Ethan's ex, Jenna, messaged me randomly, "Be careful, he's not who you think," but I deleted it fast. Convince exes stir drama out of spite. The wedding week buzzed with excitement. Final rehearsals where we practiced our steps under twinkling lights, welcome dinners filled with laughter and clinking glasses. The night before, at the Vineyard restaurant, toasts flowed like the wine. Claire's especially poignant, talking about Ethan as her rock, vowing to always protect him, calling me lucky in a way that warmed the room but left a chill in me. Everyone applauded, I forced a smile, but her eyes held something unspoken, a depth that unsettled me. Wedding morning dawned bright in the bridal suite, surrounded by my girls, mimosas bubbling, music pumping, as Sarah curled my hair into soft waves that framed my face perfectly. Claire handed me a green smoothie with a kiss on the cheek. For energy and good luck, you deserve it. And I sipped it gratefully, not thinking twice. The ceremony at 4 p.m. was bathed in golden hour glow, me walking the aisle to an acoustic 1,000 years, Dad's arm steady as he whispered encouragement, Ethan's face lighting up with tears as he mouthed, "You're beautiful," making my heart swell. We exchanged vows we'd written ourselves, his words wrapping around me like a hug, mine bringing tears to his eyes, rings sliding on with promises of forever, sealed with our first kiss as husband and wife amid cheers that echoed joy. The reception sparkled under fairy lights as dusk fell. Our first dance to Ed Sheeran swaying us close, my head on his shoulder. Then the father-daughter spin with Dad holding me tight, voice thick as he said, "I'm so proud of you, kiddo. Always will be." Toasts came next, Sarah's hilarious and heartfelt, drawing laughs and sniffles. Then Claire's turn, glass high, smile wide as she said, "To my brother and his beautiful bride, Ethan, you've always been my everything. And Leela, you're part of us now. May your love last eternal. May nothing come between you." She passed me the champagne flute herself, our fingers brushing, and I took a sip, noting the slight bitterness, but blaming the bubbles. Minutes ticked by, my stomach cramping subtly at first, ignored amid the whirl of photos and dances. Then dizziness crept in, the room tilting like a bad dream. But I pushed through, smiling for the camera, twirling with friends. During our second slow dance, I leaned into Ethan, whispering, "I don't feel good. Something's off." My voice shaky now. He frowned with worry. "Let's get you seated, maybe some water." But before we made it, my legs buckled, the world spinning black as I collapsed to the floor amid gasps and screams. I came to in the hospital 3 days later, tubes snaking into my arms, machines beeping steadily. Ethan slumped in the chair, gripping my hand like a lifeline. His eyes flew open when I stirred, tears streaming as he choked out, "You're awake! Oh God, Leela, you're awake! I thought I'd lost you." The doctor arrived shortly, her expression solemn as she explained, "Mrs. Monroe, you're incredibly lucky to be here. Your organs were failing. We detected high levels of ethylene glycol, antifreeze, deliberately ingested. The word poisoned hung heavy, shattering my reality on my wedding day of all days. Police dove in, testing every sip I'd taken, the morning smoothie, the toast champagne, finding traces in both, but the fatal dose in that flute Claire have handed me. They arrested her within days, her denials crumbling under evidence, footage catching her spike the glass slyly, phone searches for antifreeze effects and silent poisons, bank trails to a $2 million policy on my life with her as backup beneficiary. Her journals, hidden away, spilled the obsession, pages of delusions about Ethan belonging to her, me as the thief, her plan to erase me so he'd turn to her in grief, their forever twisted in her mind. Therapy records revealed erotomania, that haunting belief of unrequited love. Ethan, her unwitting fixation. He was broken, sobbing. How did I miss this? How? We delayed the honeymoon, fled our old life, severed ties. The trial dragged, raw and unrelenting. Claire on the stand, weeping excuses of just wanting to delay, not kill. But the jury saw through it, sentencing her to 28 years, no early freedom. I faced her in court, voice steady despite the storm inside. "You were meant to be my sister. I trusted you, loved you, and you stole my happiest day. May you one day grasp the ruin you caused." Recovery stretched long, kidneys scarred, needing dialysis, nightmares plaguing sleep, panic in crowds, flinching at offered drinks. Ethan stood firm, joining therapy sessions, holding me through sobs, rebuilding trust brick by brick. Dark days tested us, doubts whispering if our love could endure. But we emerged, moving cities, starting anew. A year on, we wed quietly. A judge, Sarah, Dad, simple vows, profound promises. No fanfare, just us. 5 years later, our daughter Hope giggles with Ethan's eyes and my smile. a beacon of light. Annually, I light a candle for the ashes we rose from, for survival, justice, enduring love. If that chill ever hits you, that gut whisper of wrongness, trust it fiercely. Speak, protect yourself, because smiles can hide shadows. Happiest days can turn nightmarish, but you can survive, stronger than before. I did. Thank you for hearing my truth. If it sparks one instinct trusted, it's worth the ache. Stay vigilant, love deeply, ignore no warnings. This is Leela Monroe, the bride who nearly died but lived to tell.